Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful feature show of the Grassroot Chats. With me in the studio, of course, is the angry one and Neil Hinder. Big Steve is still holidaying away, enjoying himself wherever he is, so we wish him all the best. This week on the future show, we are going to talk about Mo Salah. Mo Salah having scored 20 goals for 4 Premier League in a row, and is considered the best player in the world at the moment. So we're going to talk about his impact since he has been in Liverpool, and we're going to compare and contrast with other players who have had that wonderful key impact. However, one of the questions that will possibly come out is, considering the fact that the likes of Harry Kane has just, outscored Thiery Henry in the Premiership all round, where does he lie in history in terms of key players, or does he actually have to win a trophy? But before we start down, let us talk about Mo Salah. I'll start with the angry one. Is there any argument at this point in time? Sorry, people. Is there any argument at this point in time that Mo Salah is the best player in the world, especially now that FIFA have changed the criteria for how they're going to give the award?
The term that people like to use is arguably, so that they can not say that he is. So his form is still, he's not as red hot as he was a couple of weeks ago before African Nations, but for the ability he has and what he can do, I would say he's definitely in the conversation. He's up there, but I mean, you've still got Mbappe in there. The reason why I put him above Mbappe is purely because of the league he plays in at the moment. But he's definitely in the conversation. He's in the top 3.
So when you talk about things, so when you say he's in the conversation, it means that obviously the other players. Now, the likes of Kylian Mbappe, who is possibly also hot, got kicked out of the Champions League in a very terrible manner, the PSG way, because that's happened at least more than 2 or 3 times. And then the thing with people like Mbappe is it's not his fault he plays in the French league. Does that automatically mean that for him to actually be considered the best, he has to win a World Cup or win a Champions League, where Mo Salah could possibly win the Premier League, finish in the finals of the Champions League, and still be considered a better player because he plays in a tougher league? I'll start with you, Neil. I'll start with you.
Firstly, I was a bit confused. I think some other people might be about what the changes were to the voting. So there's 4 changes, right?
Yeah.
That they've now changed from how they were allowed to vote before. It's now a season rather than a calendar year.
Yep.
And then I think 100 teams rather than 100 nations rather than 170 nations or something like that are now allowed to vote, plus 2 other rules which were periphery. I don't think that'll make much difference. So I think that was key. I don't think you have to play in the Premier League to be the best player in the world ever.
No,
I don't think so.
That's a good point, but I think you do in this day and age.
What now? I mean,
I think your league has to be the dominant league, because if you look at players back in the day that won it from, let's say, so when Zidane won it, or when Ronaldinho won it, or when Luis Figo won it, there was no argument that the top dogs in Europe at that point were all Spanish, or they were from the Spanish league. So I think it gives you an edge. In England at the moment is obviously, with England dominating, they were still dominating with Messi and Ronaldo out there still, the best. So you could say, okay, you need to be outstanding. But I think at the moment, you could be one. The example I gave is Mbappe, French league. Everybody expects PSG to win the league. So if they win just the league, it's nothing. Then what did you do? But then if Mo Salah wins the league and the Champions League, I don't think Kylian Mbappe is even in the running.
Well, I think he's out of it now, probably because of the Champions League exit. So, then again, Liverpool haven't won it yet either. But I think it does contribute how far you get into the Champions League, because that's the leveler. So even if you're playing in a lesser league, let's say for argument's sake, it's when you go into Champions League, it's what you do. So that's the biggest show where everyone can see you. So World Cups, African nations, all that stuff, although they probably don't rate African nations as much, but the Euros and the World Cup, for sure, that's where you shine, and Champions League. So if you're doing it on there, then it doesn't matter as much if your league is considered not as good at the time. But Premier League is the strongest league. and Messi and the Liga is no more really in terms of being dominant at the moment. So the next best player will probably come from the Bundesliga or the Prem. I can't see it coming. Can't see them coming from the. Well, then again, Benzema's in for a shout. To be fair, and he's La Liga. But I mean, that's just, I can't think of anybody else.
It's Mbappe. For me, I'm not saying he's not a good player. He is a good player, and he played actually really. I thought he played quite well the other night as well against Real Madrid. I didn't see any Liga. He played well, and he is good. He looks really like a complete forward. If I was looking for a striker and he was ticking the boxes, he's fast. He seems good with his feet. He seems quite an intelligent player, and very powerful as well. I didn't expect him to be quite as powerful as that. As a complete player, I'm probably going to buy him over Mo Salah if I'm buying a player. But should Mo Salah win it over him for what he's done this season, then 100% yeah. But I think people get confused between the two things of how is that player doing, opposed to getting caught up in the hype of, oh, he's Kylian Mbappe, who is X, Y, and Z, for example. And I think that kind of ends up going against like Mo, who has been great and he's been outstanding this season. He can pass, he can finish, he isn't actually that selfish, and he did pretty well in the African Cup of Nations. I don't think he's as selfish as he makes out to be. Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. I'd have him in my team, but I still have Mbappe in front of him.
So you have Mbappe in front of him. So would you now? The question here is, when they talk about best players in the world and leagues and all that story, for some reason nobody. I mean, Robert Lewandowski has been doing this thing non-stop, 40 goals every league for the past 5 or 6 seasons. And then there was the conversation that, oh, the year he could have won it, it was pandemic. I don't understand why they just didn't send it to him, why he had to cancel the whole show. But how come this guy is not in the running? Because we keep talking about Mbappe, what Salah does. Lewandowski has been doing this. I mean, the only players that were there that could outshine him were Ronaldo and Messi, and he's still doing it at his age. So how come nobody gives him a shout? Does this come back to the
league?
Isn't
it? Well, he's basically playing in the German-speaking Scottish league, isn't it? Essentially, so.
I mean, and he's playing for Rangers, right?
Yeah, basically, Rangers on steroids. So there is that. But I mean, you still give him the credit that he deserves, and I think where he comes into his own is what he does in the Champions League and Bayern. And he does perform in the Champions League as well. He should have won it by now, which he didn't. So, I mean, now that Spain are not as much of a powerhouse, I mean, now it's open season for anybody. So Salah could win it. He could win it. Before, it was a closed shop. So the reason why he wasn't in the conversation is because there was this conspiracy that it had to be Ronaldo and Messi, regardless of what they did. Even when they were on the wane or had a bad season, they would always be in contention because they're Messi and Ronaldo. Oh, they have to win it. So now that's less true, then other people who should have probably won it before will get their chance. But he's running out of time, to be fair.
He's also not hyped, right? And I don't think he's
a machine, that's why.
Yeah, but he scores goals, right? And I don't think he, as a footballer, is the same level as Ronaldo and Messi. I'm not saying that he is not a great striker and scores goals left, right, and centre, can hold the ball up. But as a complete player, like, you pick him, Ronaldo and Messi again.
Yeah, he's not a person. He's not a personality. He's not an entity like Messi and Ronaldo and Mbappe.
But they dribble.
They're like,
they've got that explosive bit of pace. They've got that bit in the game where, if you wanted a little bit of magic, they'd have it. If you needed a goal, Robert's going to score goals, right? But if you need a bit of magic, you're looking for Messi and Ronaldo and Mbappe. And Salah. That's the difference, I think. And we all love that little, I want to say magician, that little sexy flick or turn and stuff like that. And Lewandowski just doesn't do as much of that for me.
But I think it's also about your following and stuff, because we're saying that now, but Haaland, possibly in the next season or two, will be similar in terms of he's not flashy, yeah. He's just a machine. But I would expect him to be in the running for World Player of the Year, should he pick the right team. Well, to be fair, any team he goes to in the next 2 or 3 years.
Has he been scoring? I've not heard too much about him in a while. See.
Because it's Dortmund.
Yeah. No, but one of the things that you mentioned, personality-wise, does that actually make Messi even arguably better than Cristiano Ronaldo? Because he doesn't have that Cristiano Ronaldo thing of, I'm out there, I'm this, and
People will, yeah, but the difference is people know who Messi is and Ronaldo, even if they don't watch football.
Lewandowski.
They know these people are.
They don't know who Lewandowski is.
Lewandowski, somebody who's never watched football, I don't know. He for me, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that as massive media following, and that might be because he plays in the Bundesliga. So I don't know, but everybody knows who Messi is. Like my mum knows who Messi is. Everyone knows who Messi is. Everyone knows who Ronaldo is. Lewandowski, if you watch football, but I don't think he's a household name. That's what we're looking for. Messi and Ronaldo are household names. Mbappe is now becoming a little bit of a household name. But Lewandowski is just a fantastic footballer. That's not to say that he shouldn't get World Player of the Year, but I'm just trying to explain why. So why sometimes people like him might not be in a conversation because he's not yet a household name, like a Zidane or something like that. He's just not.
So is it fair to say with Mo Salah scoring 20 goals, I think it's 4 seasons straight in the Premier League, without a doubt, and even if he didn't win the African Nations Cup, are we saying he's the best player in the world at the moment?
Judged by what factor?
I don't know, I'm asking you. Because when he didn't win it, everybody says, come on, he should have been in there. People started bringing the criteria. And one of the reasons we're talking about this now is, so Liverpool is they actually have the opportunity to win all the tournaments they're playing in this season. They've already won the Carabao Cup, and of course, Salah had a good game. So he's there now. If they win the league and they're looking really good in the Champions League, does that then solidify that this guy is the best? There's no argument there. Or will he still be arguably?
I think he will get it, but him winning the Champions League doesn't necessarily always mean that he had anything to do with. Well, he had that much of an impact. Do you know what I mean? Because, for example, PSG could win the year that Messi won the Cup or whatever it's called, and he missed a load of sitters. But Di Maria scored the winner. But still, everyone's saying, "Oh, Messi won the Copa America, blah blah blah." But he didn't really have much to do in that. He didn't contribute as you would expect him to. But I think that winning the trophy alone on your resume just kind of adds to it and gives people more reason to say that you're best player in the world, even though in actual fact you may not have contributed in that tournament. Does that make sense?
I suppose it also would come down to, again, I suppose counter on your argument that you said there, JJ. Why does he have to win a trophy? Why does he have to do anything with a team to be the best player in the world? Why can the player not be third off?
Ladies and gentlemen, in our last episode, these boys accused me of not understanding English.
No, you didn't. That wasn't what I said.
We
couldn't understand your English. That was what we said.
It wasn't. I said the question was simple. I didn't say if he. I said if he does win all that. Yeah. Can we now say he's the best player?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But why do we need to say that?
I don't know.
But why do we need to? Why does it? To me, that doesn't go hand in hand with the best player in the world.
Okay, answer this. Best player in the world, is it based on what is your criteria for the best player in the world? Because if you don't need to win anything in terms of, you're talking about, the younger one talked about impact to the team, yes? So, and he said, the team could win, but it doesn't mean Salah did anything. I mean, you can always argue and say he was on pitch, he was part of the squad, yada, yada, yada. What did he do before all that time? But if you're picking players in terms of criteria, goals, impact, what you do and what you win, or is it just looking at that sexiness as you described it, that, what they do and how they look? Because if it's based on certain things like goals and all that, Lewandowski is the best player in the world.
It shouldn't be about winning because it's a team game. Unless you're dragging that team like Maradona when he was it Sampdoria? Who did he drag up?
Napoli.
Who played for Napoli? Unless you're literally one man army dragging the team up, then it is about winning. But otherwise,
so it's about impact pretty much, yes.
Yeah, for me, it's about impact.
Do you agree with that, Neil?
Goals, assists, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's the impact to the team, right, and what you're bringing to it. Because for me, like Benzema, I mean, his game the other night was phenomenal, and it was the epitome of how a centre forward should play. And then you've got, and actually probably the worst Real Madrid team that I can remember in the last 10 years, right? I'm not saying that they're shambles, but you would look at that team and go, yeah, you're missing a few top quality names that we would have had when years gone by. And he's still there, and he's still doing it at a team that isn't as good. Salah's doing it at a top team. You could say Ronaldo's doing it at a team that isn't quite as good. Lewandowski, I don't think we'll ever get it because he only offers goals, and as much as he scores goals left, right, and centre,
which is
Drogba never got it.
He offers the most important thing.
Yeah, he does.
No, but then
I'm not arguing the fact that that's all he is offering. That's why I don't think Haaland will ever get it.
So the question I'm asking, from what you guys have described, so you're saying, according to what you guys see, or according to what you think is, a player doesn't necessarily have to win anything, but the impact. So, for example, like when you said, so Ronaldo is still in the standing for best player in the world right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's still one of the best players in the world. I wouldn't take it off him.
Yeah,
and that performance yesterday, Saturday, literally proves that he's still one of the best players in the world, because that was it doesn't matter who he's playing for, right? When you play that well, that's what the level you're at, and it's way above anyone else, right?
And United can still win the Champions League.
They still can.
They're in it. Yeah, they still can. But why not? With a player like that, I wouldn't bet against him. You're definitely going to get past Atletico.
And I think,
and after that,
I think that's what Ronaldo offers, though, right? He offers goals, but he also offers a little bit of magic in there as well. And I still want a little bit of dust scattered on my goals, right? I need a little magic dust, because I don't just want goals, because they're like Alan Shearer scored a fuckload of goals, but I would never give him the best player in the world.
But then that also then means that, so are we saying that only a forward can ever be best player in the world?
No, it doesn't. I mean, the question I was going to ask, based on what you guys said in terms of impact, is, so Ronaldo could, Man United, just an example, Man United could go the whole season, not winning anything, but let's say Ronaldo maintains this, what he's been doing, hat-trick and all that. So he would, you're not necessarily saying he should win it, but you're saying he should be in contention, yes?
Well, yeah, because based on his performances, his individual performances, how they impact the team.
In terms of individual performances, is it possible that in the same shout or in the same mention, when everybody was saying Salah should be the best, Bruno Fernandes, because he single-handedly was the best player, arguably in the league, and of course was the only man. He pretty much just pulled Man United from zero. And they have likes of De Gea, where if it wasn't in Man United would be like 20th. So those kind of performances, do they put them in contention for best player, or?
I think goalies get something different, and then they get Golden Glove.
Golden Glove,
yeah. I think it's always going to be really hard for a goalkeeper to showcase. I mean, you've got to play for a good club anyway, right? Because if you're a top player, you will only be playing for a good club. You're not going to be playing for.
So Saint-Maximin can definitely win it then.
He will never win it.
No, but he's quality though. I like the way he plays.
But he's not. He's not that level, right?
No, he's not. He's not.
But
close.
I think maybe Van Dijk for a season would be in with a good shout if he had a good solid season, and if he then offers that next level. I don't just mean he's kept 10 clean sheets and 3 goal line clearances. If he's kept that level up of quality of passing, assisting, and there all the time, and when he needs to be, then I'd be like, yeah, that's fine.
The man went through
from Celtic.
How many games? He went through how many games without being dribbled as a defender in the modern day game, and of course, as you said, stable, kept won the league with Liverpool, Champions League, and he wasn't even okay. He was in the top 3 for that year, but then at the moment, moving back to Mo Salah, we've ruled out the fact, okay, let's forget just goals, because a good point that you made was Alan Shearer used to score a lot of goals. But then Michael Owen used to score a lot of goals, and he was the best player in the world at some point. So
he was a hell of a lot better looking than Alan Shearer. They love a poster boy, France.
So we're saying the angry one, for example, the angry one can't win best player.
That's a bit harsh.
I'm asking, why is it that when I ask a question, people just, it's just a simple question. Compared to, so if you say Neil and Angry One, who, in terms of looks, who win best player?
Hands down.
Well, it depends what they like, innit?
Who's they?
If you like gnomes, if you like gnomes, then no, bring your hands down. There's no contest. But you know what? One way we can look at it sometimes is You know, when you are picking player of the best player in the world, and there's different criteria. It's all subjective anyway. But at some points when you think, you know what, if I could have one player on my team, who would that player be? And like Neil already said it before, as good as we all know Salah is, Neil personally would have Mbappe in his team. So I would imagine, if you were voting, is Mbappe getting player of the best player in the world over Salah?
I mean, for what he does for PSG, just seems to be an unorganised machine of.
It's PR. It's a PR, isn't it?
Yeah, they remind me of a really poorly organised Galacticos at Madrid, right? They just can't organise it for Toffee, but where Madrid managed to organise it, and these guys can't. Mbappe's playing with Neymar, Messi, right? That's
Ramos.
That's a hell of a top three, right? And you should look good in that top three, but then you have to then shine one above, if that makes sense. I don't even think Salah's Liverpool's best player. That'd be like contentious. I prefer Mane personally. I think he's a more rounded player. But if I'm looking,
I prefer Van Dijk.
Do you know what I mean? So it's really hard. Maybe I just couldn't stand a Liverpool player being in the contention of being the best in the world, and it's voted by knobs. Half the time they'll be going, do you know what? And they won't have looked. They'll just be picking. If Ronaldo and Messi, as good as they have been, and Ronaldo's still playing at a really good level, he's still not playing at quite what he was playing before. And I think there are players like Salah, week in and week out, playing better. Will Ronaldo drag United over the finish line? Yes. But is Salah consistently better this season? Probably, if that makes sense. Lewandowski just scores goals. That's my only concern with him, and why he never gets it, because he doesn't do enough.
And also, when's the last time that Bayern won the Champions League? I can't remember now.
They didn't even win it under Pep, did they?
2 years ago.
What did he? I can't remember. Oh yeah, they beat
PSG.
Didn't they beat PSG?
They beat PSG 1-0 2 years ago.
So even that year, he scored all those goals. He still didn't win it.
They suspended the award that year, pandemic. I mean,
when he was going to win
they couldn't send it to him, I don't understand.
Couldn't do a Zoom meeting.
That sounds very dodgy, man. That sounds very dodgy. Because that's where they even did the Oscars and other awards via Zoom. They didn't cancel those things. But
Benzema's been playing great for Madrid this season.
Yeah, but is he the best player in the world?
It's subjective, right?
It's about a season now, right? The criteria has changed. And that's why I keep... So if we're looking at it based on the new criteria, and from everybody saying Mo Salah,
Well, Salah then, if based on new criteria at the moment, currently.
But then we can argue Benzema is in there, because if it's just based on a season calendar instead of a year calendar, Benzema is definitely in there for a shot.
24 games, 20 goals and 10 assists. It's not shabby.
Yeah.
That's just in the league.
Yeah.
How many assists does Lewandowski have?
This season?
He doesn't know to pass, he just scores. I must score. Machine.
4 in total, 1 in the league and 3 in the Champions League.
How many goals? Well, French.
So does that automatically... Are these the things that people look at and just go, yeah, you score 50 goals a season, but you don't assist?
Mate, if you score 50 goals in a season, you don't need to assist.
He's got 43 goals. But then he's a completely different player, right?
You don't need to assist if you score 50 goals.
And, he's scoring most of them against children, so it doesn't count in that league. It's hard, and I think you're right. I think Mo Salah's always going to have that shout, because I think the Premier League is overall probably the most competitive. You might have a top 6, 7, and then you have like a mid range, which are all quite close, and then you have the bottom 5 or 6. So we have that where other leagues don't have. Maybe they have a top 2 or a top 3, and then it's kind of mushy for about 12 places, and then 3 rubbish teams at the bottom. Where I think anyone in the Premier can beat anyone at some particular point. I think that's proven with Spurs beating Man City the other week, Watford getting beaten United. That there are anomalies, and they happen probably more in the Prem than anywhere else in the world. So yeah, it's definitely the most competitive, and I think that gives Mo Salah that extra bit. But then Mane won the African Cup of Nations, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So if Mane wins, if Liverpool win I know you guys have mentioned that winning is not there, but he has a good resume for being in contention to be the best player in the world. But it's not even mentioned.
But here's the thing: is what you got, how we perceive it. So how we perceive it isn't really how they perceive it. So, for example, the fact that it's been a calendar year all this time doesn't even make sense. It should always have been a season. For full stop. So you're the best player in the world for that season. So I think
they made a calendar year to give people a shot in terms of tournaments for like country internationals.
And people are in the MLS because they play a slightly different season.
But then,
those guys
then
are never in contention, man. Come on.
You're never in contention, and it always turned out to be. It became an industry when, like Neil says about the poster boy, and the poster boys for so long, whether they deserved it or not, were just two players. So, I mean, it's only this season now we might start seeing a shift. Then again, if you get to this Champions League final, Ronaldo probably be in it again, whether he deserves it or not. So we'll see.
Well, so categorically, Mike, is Mo Salah the best player in the world?
At the moment, arguably.
And Neil?
I even got this question. You said categorically, is Mo Salah the best player in the world? No. Not categorically.
Okay. Arguably?
Yeah, arguably. But not categorically. That's the problem, right? Because this is so subjective. And I think that's probably one of the... Imagine if it was voted by the fans.
Too many people start hacking and trying to...
They'd only vote for their own players, right?
But, and also, why?
That's why you're not allowed to vote for your... Sorry, Mike. That's why even for PFA and stuff, you're not allowed to vote for your own teammate, just to make it a bit fair. So,
but if you notice, whenever they talk about, and it's not us that decides it, but whenever they talk about who's in the contention for player of the world player of the year, whatever, they always talk about a forward. They never talk about
midfielders get a good shot.
Who's in contention as a midfielder for player of the best player in the world?
At the moment, midfielders, Mane.
What? He's a forward.
Well, that's true. He's not a striker. But midfielders right now.
Nobody ever gets mentioned.
No, in the last couple of
more defenders.
Jorginho was third. The last one. Defenders, no, they have a hard time. Defenders and goalkeepers, it's
yeah, they never. So unless you're actually score like a midfielder will get a shout if they're like a Zidane because they're creating and scoring, and it's beautiful. Yeah, but mainly it's basically wingers, attacking midfielders, strikers. Those are the best players in the world. I know that Thingy won it one time. What's his name? That little Roman guy. And it should have been Henry.
Cannavaro.
Yeah. I mean, but that doesn't often happen.
No, he
was second that year.
He had a wonderful World Cup, and who did he stop from winning it? Zidane and Henry. So that one they just decided. Then
Maserati stopped them from winning it. And
then you have when Iniesta didn't win best player in the world, but he won best player in Europe. I could argue that he wasn't the best player, but it was wonderful. Well, Mo Salah.
It's interesting because the FIFA Player of the Year was Lewandowski, wasn't it, for 2022?
It was a new category that he was given. I think he was the best striker or something.
No, FIFA Player of the Year wasn't. That's different to the Ballon d'Or, right?
Yep.
The Ballon d'Or is the French one that comes up.
Well, even the Ballon d'Or, I think they gave him a special award.
He was in 2021 he was second in the Ballon d'Or to Lionel Messi and Jorginho was third. But just to give you what we were saying about the voting, so in the FIFA Player of the Year, Lewandowski got 48 points, which is more than anyone else because the coaches and the captains and the media gave him all the plaudits. He got less votes from the fans. Lionel Messi got way more votes from the fans,
because Messi
twice as many, and then Mo Salah got almost 1.5 times the amount of votes as Lewandowski got from the fans. So fans, maybe they do need to stay away because they're only voting for their own player or the pretty poster boy, right?
Or their favorite player, because Lewandowski, unless you really love football or you're Bayern Munich fan, you're not going to love Lewandowski as much as you love the Messis and that. Even the Fodens are just the skillful players, because Lewandowski is just a goal machine, and you have to really appreciate football to understand that or be a fan of that team.
So what one last question before you we're going. Who are you buying if you're having a central striker? Who are you buying?
Me personally,
Yeah, both of you.
I'd buy Lewandowski if he's a bit younger.
Yeah, anyone in the world.
Let's forget their age. Let's just forget what they've achieved and pick and all that at their top form. Who would you buy? Who would I buy as a top striker?
Yeah,
Lewandowski.
Yeah, without a doubt.
See, hands down, he's going to be in everyone's team, right?
Because you've got Lewandowski and you've got maybe Haaland, but you've got Messi, you've got Mbappe, you've got Neymar, you've got Salah.
With all the players we've called, actually. So in terms of Salah, Mbappe, and Lewandowski, let's throw in Mane there just for the fun of it. Out of all those guys,
Saka.
Okay, as you said, just for the fun of it.
Just for the fun, right?
All those guys, in terms of out and out striker, hands down, Lewandowski, Benzema. There's no.
Yeah, you're getting them right, but I think if you didn't, no one's mentioned but put Messi there, but you would put Ronaldo right on a wing if you were going to be thinking of maybe Ronaldo at his prime. You either putting him
as a forward, yeah, as they say.
A forward, but in the far wing position, right?
Yeah.
So, but you're picking him there. You would pick Neymar out on the wing as well, if as Salah or Mane, but they would all go out wide, right? The one person that you're going to want is Lewandowski, and you'd probably pick him for goals, maybe over Messi.
Well,
Messi prime. You could play him anywhere, to be honest.
Well, we shall see. We shall see who wins it after the wonderful criteria.
It'll be Saka. or ESR.
Can Antonio, right?
Yeah, of course.
You heard it here first, folks. Within 4 years.
Ivan Toney.
No.
I'm just saying.
He's too busy doing bits in Dubai.
I mean,
he hates his own team.
He scored 5 goals in 2 games, man. Don't mess about. Ivan Toney, the guy's on top form. Well, now moving on to Harry Kane. Now is the 5th all-time goal scorer in the Premier League with 177. He is currently tied. Actually, it's the 4th. He's currently tied with Frank Lampard, and Thiery Henry is number 7. So the question I have here now is: there's a lot of noise about Harry Kane, all-time scorer, blah blah blah. Where does this rank for him? Obviously, as an individual record, it's wonderful, but him not. If Harry Kane finishes his Premier League career and manages, I don't think he'll get to 260. I don't think anybody will beat Shearer's record in any time soon. But if he gets to, even if he beats Wayne Rooney, there's 208, and he doesn't win a trophy, does it really count for anything apart from individual? Where does that put him as a legend in the game? And one of the reasons I'm asking that is, personally, in terms of the amount of goals that are being scored in the league, somebody that I rate very highly, especially when we're talking about assists and all that, is Andrew Cole. 187 goals, 1 penalty. 1. He didn't score other penalty, but when they're talking about this, that achievement, they don't really give it as much. Oh my God, and all that. I mean, Frank Lampard has even spoken highly about his goals compared to Andrew Cole. So Harry Kane scoring goals and not winning a trophy, where does that put him in terms of? Do you see him being in the Hall of Fame anytime soon? The angry one. Let's start with you, as he's your mate from the other side of North London.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be in the top 5 goal scorers of all time, you're always going to be in the Hall of Fame. That's the whole point of these records, isn't it? One of the points is to say who was the best goal scorer. So as an out-and-out goal scorer, he's always going to be a legend, whether he wins anything or not. If he doesn't win anything, then that's down to some will argue that he wasn't. He could have done more. He should have moved. Blah blah blah. Like a Letitia, but it's just for me. It's just for the it's just down to the team that he plays for. That why he's not winning anything, and also the fact that Daniel Levy is at Spurs.
Teddy Sheringham was the guest for last Monday Night Football, and he pretty much said he would suggest Harry Kane should move because that's the only way he can solidify himself as a real legend. And win some trophies. Do you agree with that, Neil?
Currently, the way Spurs are set up, then yeah, he's got to leave to win trophies.
Where he go now, though? After that Man City move just fell.
Yeah, but doesn't say that won't be back on.
Newcastle.
He could get to Newcastle, but they might win. I think you've got there's a few points there. One, you said just scoring goals, and then the Premier League not getting any more than 280. Like the Premier League is so much harder to score in than any other league. Ronaldo's got 805 goals, and we say at the top flight, right? But he's banging them in Spain.
Yeah,
and,
450 in Spain.
And Lewandowski is banging them in Germany. And they're great players, and maybe that preserves their career, right? Would they have scored that many playing in the Prem?
Ronaldo is different It's different for Ronaldo, though, in the sense that so he didn't actually start as a forward. That's one, and he spent more time in Spain than he has spent in England. So
I'm not saying that they're bad, and the plaudits should be there. But when you've got a player that's like Alan Shearer that was a goal machine and scoring and started off as a goalkeeper, let's not forget that. So he moved quite considerably up the pitch, right? So, all right, Ronaldo was a winger, right, moved in a little bit, or midfielder, all right? So Harry Kane is a legend of the Premier League, for staying at Spurs for so long, and anyone who stays at Spurs that long and is that good deserves plaudits. Gaza is a legend as well, and you couldn't take that away from him.
Letitia
never played for Spurs, just in case you wondered.
No, but I'm saying, yeah, but he's a legend for playing for one team.
I think when it comes to retirement, if he never leaves Spurs and doesn't win anything, that's when he will look back maybe with a sense of regret of what could I have done? Should I have left to go and win something? Potentially, he did try, but Spurs didn't allow him, and I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. So this season, and maybe he'll run that down, and that'll be Spurs' loss. But Spurs can't afford to let him go, and I don't think that can be stressed enough of his goals and how important he is to Spurs from that point of view. If they let him go for 100 million, they don't get anyone in, or 150 million, they're not getting anyone in. Like when they let Bale go and they signed 15,000 players that were nowhere near as good, right? So yeah, Harry Kane, definitely a legend, great player, deserves legendary status, and I think you're right. I don't think he will beat Shearer, but Harry Kane's only 28, so he is coming into now his prime, and maybe the next 4 seasons, if he can bang in 25 goals a season with the improvements under Conte, there's no reason why they can't win an FA Cup or League Cup. If they can't win a League Cup, they've got problems, and they should have won the League Cup had they kept Mourinho.
I mean, he has 11 Premier League goals, which is quite poor for the amount of what he normally does. And this you never know. Yeah, you never know in terms of. I mean, he could score a hat-trick there, and all of a sudden score 20. But he's going to be 29 by the start of next season, I think. And then Man City, I don't know if they'll come calling again. If they win the league, especially not having a striker, they would have proven that, we actually didn't need this guy. And I had an epiphany. What if Harry Kane goes to Man United?
First you can have the 2 Harrys at the top and at the back, right?
That sounds terrible. One Harry has to go. One Harry has to go. And I think that Harry Kane would be way more suited to United than to City at any season, regardless of if Pep's whoever's in. Because I don't think he's a Pep player. However, I don't think that you get Harry Kane while you've still got Ronaldo, which is the problem.
Yeah,
because I don't think you replace Ronaldo.
No, but you don't get him in to replace the guy. I'm sure you can play both of them.
Where?
I mean, if you can play Ronaldo and Cavani against Spurs.
Yeah, but Spurs tired and poor.
This is like the first leg when they played Bruno Fernandes, Ronaldo, and Cavani. So if you can play that, and Harry Kane now showing us that he can drop deep and, assist and all that story.
You're not buying. You're not paying Harry Kane to sit in midfield, are you?
Yeah, but he's still scoring. He's dropping just to take the ball, but he's still scoring though. 11 goals.
Yeah, but what?
You just want a new captain.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You just want a new captain.
But
no, I'm just saying. But
Jay,
if you have him at United, though. But okay, to be honest, the reason Harry Kane will leave Tottenham is to win a trophy. It's not just because scoring goals is a given. He will score.
He's also up to his last big contract, right?
Yep.
And I mean that in the nicest. It's going to be a 4-year deal or wherever he goes to at this stage, which would then take him above 30, which we've already had the conversation. He's over the hill and past it for some obscure reason. So this is his last big payday. So that's a good decision that he needs to make of where he's going to go. And justifiably as well. There's people in the Premier League. I think someone said Rashford was on 300 grand a week.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
I know. But if you buy Harry Kane, if Man United buy Harry Kane, they buy him to be their number one striker. You don't buy him and you keep Ronaldo. It doesn't really make. You don't buy him and then change the way he plays to suit Ronaldo. If that's the case, you might as well just kept Cavani.
The way he plays now will suit Ronaldo, though.
But
the same way,
Harry Kane surely is your future because he's got at least 3-4 years in him more than Ronaldo.
I'm sure he can sacrifice one season. Because Ronaldo
for 150 million, what have you paid for him? 100 million. You can't.
Ronaldo at the moment, has 1 year left in his contract. I personally believe he will see it out at United, and that's it. Even if they offer him something, I don't think he will take it. I think he'll probably want to go somewhere, MLS or whatever, do whatever he wants to do. You're telling me Mourinho suited Harry Kane's game or twisted it so he could benefit the likes of Son going down the wing and Lucas Moura. That's why he dropped that deep spread, move, get in the box, score. Yes, this season it's a bit slow, but he's still been doing this season. He has 11 goals, and I think he should beat at least 15 goals this season, which won't be too bad considering how he started. So if he comes to Man United, now obviously I'm not saying, you have come here, United, you need to drip. But if you can play Cavani and Ronaldo in the same team, I'm sure you can play Harry Kane.
Yeah, you can pay anybody, but you didn't pay 100 million for Cavani. That's the point. If you're paying 100 million for Kane, you're paying him to score goals. You're not paying him to do the stuff that he's doing at Tottenham. He's just your out and out goal scorer, like when you paid 25 million for Van Persie. He just bangs in goals. That's what he's there for. Yeah, he may drop deep now.
That was
again,
a sweet 25 million.
Yeah, I know. But you can't. It doesn't make sense to buy him. So you're going to buy him and then basically limit him to suit Ronaldo's game for 1 year. Then he's a year older. When he's a year older, you suddenly get him to play.
I guarantee you, though, Harry Kane, Man United, with his style of play now, still scores over 20 goals.
I partially agree.
I just don't see him and Ronaldo.
The problem you have there is with Son. Son's got the legs to run, right? Mm-hmm. So Son's playing wide of the three, and whoever else that they decide to play on that particular day. The issue that you'll have is you won't have any width because you'll have to play a 4-4-2 or 4-2-2-2-2-2, whatever Rangnick wants to play if he's still there. And if you've got three at top, you're putting Ronaldo there, and then that means you can't really stick Harry Kane wide right or wide left. And I don't think they'll drop Ronaldo for that. But I also don't think Ronaldo will be there next season. So I think it would be a very shrewd signing for United to start sniffing around now. This is what probably annoys me more about United than anything else. They should have got the manager sorted so they could get the recruitment sorted for summer, because that's the key thing. And I don't think Ronaldo's there next season. He's going to Italy.
Back to Italy to where?
Well, because you can play to your 50 in Italy.
No,
why not?
Who will he play for?
Juve. Anybody would take Ronaldo. Let's not.
So so you think Ronaldo heads out to come in the season?
Yeah, I think he goes. I don't think he stays because I don't think.
Maybe he might go back to Portugal.
I don't think Portugal will pay him enough.
Play for Sporting. No, they won't pay him enough.
Sporting is his last club.
He doesn't need the football money. It's endorsements and stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't need the money.
Yeah, but he also needs to be seen. So there's no point of him playing football in Portugal. He needs to be in one of the big leagues where he's seen and he's still a president to get the endorsements that he still wants. I think he'll go and play in Italy and probably win La Liga 5 more times before he hangs his boots up.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. A wonderful brief conversation about Mo Salah and where Harry Kane lies and where he should go, briefly. And Cristiano Ronaldo with Neil with the inside gist that he might end up in Italy, or he's definitely leaving Man United. Before we go, though, there are some Premier League games. And, of course, we need to talk about the Arsenal v Liverpool, which would be later on today. Predictions, Neil?
Oh, that's Liverpool. Oh, yeah. I'm actually going to go with 1-1. I think Liverpool will score early. They'll play expansive football. Arsenal will get them on the counter-attack. They'll get a goal, and then they'll just sit back because it will be really late on, like 75 minutes, and they'll just sit back and defend for it. Because a point there is a really, really, really good point. I think they're fighting a lot more, which I think is the belief that the fans want. I don't think the exciting football of that game is going to be applicable. They need a team to be fighting, to making those early tackles to stop the counter attacks and to stop the balls, and that's what first one to every challenge as much as they can. They're going to be tired, but I think that's for me, draw 1-1. What about
you? I think that we're not going to win that game.
You say this every single time.
Given the fact, no, hold on. So we over 2 legs in the Carabao Cup, whatever. We didn't even score a goal. So we've improved a lot. But if the Salah we know turns up, I think he twines Tierney inside out. Or just to be honest. So the most I can hope for, in reality, is a draw. That's not to say that we can't win that game, because it's football. Anybody can win any game. Yeah. And teams who are technically worse than us have beat Liverpool this season. Can't remember who, but I know somebody beat them. So it's possible. But I would say, even though we're at home, the best I can look for is a draw. So obviously I'm saying that now, but on the day I'll be shouting like a mad person, thinking that we're going to win until we lose.
And of course, another key game for our good friend in the blue side of Liverpool. Thursday, Everton v Newcastle. The angry one.
Newcastle will win that game, you know. Everton are going down. Sorry, Claire. They're going down, man. They're going down.
Neil?
Didn't Carragher say that they had a championship defence? That goes with Dele Alli's championship ability to play in the game. So they are perfectly suited for next season in the championships. Yeah, and Newcastle are going to be all over that. There'll be 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it could be disgusting.
Oh, damn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Brings us to the end of the feature show. Neil, the angry one, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully see you guys soon. And go and have fun and do whatever you do to make you happy. The angry one. It's goodbye from the angry one, and of course, goodbye from Neil.
Bye.